In this video, we'll be talking about what is budgeting, why is budgeting important, and we'll cater to two useful budgeting strategies. Budgeting is a fundamental step in financial planning. It is basically creating a plan of how the money will be used. It includes planning all the expenses and the savings against the income. Without a budget, we do not plan how to manage our finances effectively. We do uncontrolled expenditure on satisfying our wants, as we do not end up keeping a track of the expenses, which is an extremely bad financial habit. Budgeting is extremely important because it helps you strategically plan how you would allocate your money towards your needs, wants, and savings, which would also include the amount that you would invest. One should plan a budget in such a way that his or her expenses are minimized and the savings are maximized. One cannot change the amount required for the needs like rent, amount to buy groceries, electricity bill, gas bill, etc. I know that one could reduce the consumption of these, but practically speaking, it is very difficult to reduce the usage or consumption of the basic and necessary things. So, what one could actually do is that he or she can reduce the amount allocated towards the wants. Wants basically includes the things which most of us like to do, like partying, eating food in restaurants, going for movies, buying branded clothes, and all that stuff. Nothing against those people who like these things, but the fact is that if we want to attain financial freedom at a younger age, we'll have to avoid these instant gratification stuff. We'll have to reduce the amount we spend on these wants or so-called luxuries of life, so that we are able to save as much money as possible, and then we'll have more money to invest and generate much more wealth in the long term. But before investing through the money that we have saved, we should first buy health insurance and life insurance, and then we should make an emergency fund, which is basically an amount of money that we keep aside so that we can use that money in case of any emergencies. These emergency funds are very useful in times of dire need so that we do not have to ask other people for money in those situations. For example, if someone loses his or her job, and if that person had an emergency fund made, then that person would not have to deal with a financial crisis and would have a considerable amount of time to find another job. An emergency fund should at least be equal to your unavoidable expenses of 6 months. However, it is advisable to create an emergency fund containing the amount that is equal to your unavoidable expenses of 12 months for safety. Now we'll be discussing about two budgeting strategies. The first one being the 50-30-20 rule. In this budgeting strategy, half of the income of the person, which is 50%, is to be spent on the basic necessities. 30% of the income is to be spent on the wants of a person, and 20% of the income is to be saved by the person. The second budgeting strategy that we are going to discuss is customized budgeting. But before that, I would want to talk about a problem with the 50-30-20 strategy, and then I would like to come to why customized budgeting is better. The 50-30-20 strategy might not suit everyone. If your income is very high, then you might not have to spend 50% of your income on the necessities. And if your income is comparatively low, then you might even have to spend more than 50% of your income on the necessities. In my opinion, we should make a customized budget where all the necessary expenses are considered. The money spent on the wants is as little as possible and the savings are maximized. Because I honestly feel that 20% of the savings is less, considering that you earn a decent sum of money. All the expenses and savings planned through this budgeting strategy would be customized according to the income of a person. We should live a frugal lifestyle. We should mindfully spend our money in order to save as much as possible in the earlier years so that we can invest that capital in various asset classes, and then through compounding, our capital would appreciate, which means that the amount would grow, and then we'll be able to generate a lot of wealth in order to attain financial freedom at an early age. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you are able to understand the concept of budgeting. The next video would be an introduction to investing.